Hi, welcome to Modern Stage Comics. I'm Gene.
And I'm Kiyoshi.
Today, we'll be going over House of X number 1. Stay tuned. Key intro. So, what about this opening page? Right?
It's pretty interesting. It's still kind of vague. Read the comic.
Yeah, I feel like
still don't get it.
I feel like it's talking to us. While you slept, the world changed. Sleep I did. And the X-Men World of Mutants changed.
Yep. It became fantastic.
It did.
Yeah, so, I mean, first notes, other than the comic just being a great reintroduction to the X-Men universe, the art, the panels, everything is just excellent quality. The framing, the way the backgrounds mixed with the characters are just really nice.
Yeah, I even like the transitions between the different scenes. Mm-hmm. You know, it just blended so well. So this book is supposed to be something that even a new reader can read, you know, without having to know any history of the X-Men. And I feel like some of those pages give hints of what they're talking about within the pages of the book. The
comic book opens up after the title with what appears to be either stasis chambers or cloning pods. It's kind of Matrix-esque. We were having a discussion earlier about Professor X in this scene. In the panel, he looks kind of funny.
Well, he reminds me, he feels like a mutant Jesus.
Yeah.
Especially when the X-Men that are crawling on the floor, they're reaching up like he's some kind of savior.
Next, we have the introduction. We will be talking about the coded language that's in the comic at the end. So stay tuned for that.
So then we go to they're showing off these flowers. Members of the X-Men, they're not showing their faces. You know, they really want to focus on these flowers that have these properties that help with humans as far as like medicine and stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's a panel which is we'll call it Hickman panels.
Yes.
Just explaining what the flowers do for humans and what the X-Men use them for. So we'll go over that in a second too. But the panel opens up with them planting flowers all over the world. We find out later on that those are actually gateways that they use to get to and from places. So there's one starting in Krakoa himself, Westchester Mansion. So they're all places that the mutants have been before.
Yeah.
Savage Lands. And then we end at the Jerusalem habitat.
Yeah, and then it shows these ambassadors coming to meet with who they think is supposed to be Professor Xavier. But little do they know, you know, and they're all surprised and they think they're about to get attacked. Because who meets them?
Magneto. And the Stepford Cuckoos.
Magneto looks amazing. He's every bit as frightening as he's ever looked.
Yeah. Oh, and that's, again, the art, super top-notch in this comic. Coloring and everything. So they make him look really statuesque.
Yes.
High figure. Got
commanding presence.
Light God rays on him, and it looks really nice. They don't really mention where the ambassadors are from, but if you have the director's cut from the online version,
yes,
they do say that they're from like Russia, China, UK, and things like that. You guess that one of them's from China because his name is like Ma
Ming Hui
Ning Wang Wang. And then actually, what's interesting is the first Hickman panel.
Yes. It describes the different flowers of Krakoa. There's the 3 drugs, right? The first drug extends life by 5 years.
The next drug I, is a universal antibiotic.
Yes, it's crazy. It's like a super antibiotic, right?
Yes. You would say it's universal.
Yeah, but it's like an ultra version.
Yes. Yeah.
You know? And then I like the next drug is by far the most beneficial, probably to...
And what does it do, Gene?
It gets rid of all ailments of the mind.
So basically, they bring these flowers in the form of pills, and they're trying to offer them to the other nations.
To the humans.
Yeah, as part of a deal.
To recognize Krakoa and the inhabitants as their own nation.
Basically going back to the old Magneto.
Yes.
The plan as far as living in separate from the humans.
His plan, as far as like, I want to say Genosha?
Genosha or like Meteor M, or he's probably done it like 10 times. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now Professor X is on board now, so
Yeah.
I guess that's just the plan they decided to do.
And then we have the other half of these plants, and one of them makes gateways. Now, from what I understand, these gateways they have a twin on another side. I wonder if maybe later on they're going to show like a portal hub room.
They probably will, because so far in this comic they haven't. They do go through a couple gates, but they're not in the same location as another gate. So the next one is a habitat flower, and it basically takes you into a biome, so like a self-sustaining area that's in Krakoa's consciousness.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the land of make-believe made real.
And then they have another version of that, which is the no place, right? And that essentially is the same deal as the habitat, except for the no place has its own consciousness. You know, it's like its own entity.
Yeah.
Krakoa gave birth.
Yeah. Well, they do at the end of the explanation, they do call it a Krakoan tumor.
Yeah.
So, and they haven't shown it in the comic book yet. So I'm interested to see where they go with that. Is it like a covert room that nobody knows about? Or maybe that is where the birthing pods are.
Yes. Or maybe that's where they'll send like mutant prisoners. They got to do something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from the covers, it looks like all the evil mutants are good guys now. So I don't know. There's a crap ton of variant covers if you haven't heard already. There's how many?
Oh, there's over 20.
Yeah, that's super ridiculous. Yeah. So as a collector, it's going to be pretty hard to try to get a hold of all of them. And one of them online is already like $400.
Oh, the one in $500.
Yeah, it's really expensive. The cover's nice. Then on another Hickman panel, we get a whole map of the island.
And then, I don't know if you noticed on the Hickman page, there is a dotted line area.
Yes.
So, is the island getting bigger, or what is that?
It's the anus. It's the anus of Krakoa.
All right. Well, let's talk about the Orcus. The team is comprised of all these multiple groups, organizations.
Yeah, some of the groups they do mention are AIM, SHIELD, Strike, Sword, Alpha Flight, Hammer, Armor, and Hydra. And they do have like a percentage of how many are from each. There are recruits from those organizations that are all getting together to fight kind of the takeover of human mutants.
Yeah, from what it looks like, I want to say they're almost like high budget purifiers.
Yeah,
I mean, extreme high budget.
Yeah. Well, and it does say that the program or the Orcus protocol didn't activate until they tried to become a sovereign nation.
Yes.
So they were just going to leave the mutants alone. And then when they made the drug and started doing things that kind of looked aggressive, the protocol activated and they headed into space to go to the station. So now the station, they do show us what it looks like. They pan out and it's so it's Master Mole's head in what looks like the center of Soul's hammer.
Yes.
And now I didn't know what Soul's hammer was. I had to look it up. It's in another part of a Hickman's Avengers run, and what it appeared to be was a satellite they used that's powered by the sun to destroy one of the multiverse planets that was going to collide into Earth. They have a lot of power, and they're using it to power what Sentinel's Master Mold had.
And it kind of looks like Nidavellir from Infinity War, right?
Yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah.
It's powered by the heart. Powered by the heart of a dying star.
Now, they say we'll have him make more, right? Or we'll have her build them, right? And I'm assuming when they say her, they're talking about Master Mold. I wonder if he's still plugged in.
I don't know.
I am still plugged in.
I don't know that reference.
We finally get a clear definition of what Omega level mutant is. And it's not necessarily the mutant themselves. It's their powers. Right?
Yep.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, the description here, as I'll read, a mutant whose dominant power is deemed to register or reach an undefinable upper limit of that power's specific classification.
So I'm assuming that just means that that person's power has almost no limits. Mm-hmm. You know, some examples they give is, I never considered Magneto as an Omega level mutant, you know? But I guess...
he was deemed Omega a while ago.
Well, I always thought that he was an Alpha class mutant, and then they deemed him Omega just because he's strong. That's what I thought before. Mm-hmm. But now I understand why. It's because his magnetic powers is unmatched, and they don't know what the limits are to his power. Mm-hmm. Like, can he, I don't know, rotate the Earth?
Yeah. Well, there's even been runs where he takes, like, the iron out of people's blood, not just like in the movie where he had iron injected, but like in the Earth X run, Paradise X run, Alex Ross, he did take the metal out of someone's blood, so...
Yeah. It's cool to see David Haller on here. So I'm assuming we're going to get a little bit of Legion in this run.
He does pop up every once in a while.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be cool to see Legion. He has unlimited powers.
Maybe they're holding him on the anus of the island.
All right, so Magneto actually gives this whole tour to these ambassadors, right? And then one of the things that the ambassadors are concerned with are the fact that they can move anywhere they want, which is, I mean, yes, that's a huge advantage.
Power unchecked. They can stealthily take over a whole nation if they wanted.
Yeah.
And to note too, the whole time, and of course they have the Cuckoos there, so the Cuckoos have been reading the minds of the people there the whole time.
And it's crazy. One of them has a gun. Who brings a gun to? Well, I guess he doesn't know.
A gun to a Magneto fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't expect Magneto there, so immediately Magneto disassembles the gun, lifts him in the air.
And this is when he goes into that whole spiel about all humans are wolves, and if they are pretending to be sheep, but they're all actually wolves. And I see from his history why he thinks like that. He's pretty much calling all humans greedy, and it's crazy because he also says that that mutants have never fought each other over territory.
Which, that's arguable, because I was thinking about that while I read it too, because every time Magneto's tried to make like a Meteor M and stuff, the X-Men go and stop it.
In the name of the humans.
Yeah. So, yeah. But again, Magneto with the God rays, the sun rays. There's a super nice panel with the sun behind him, and he's overshadowing, which really is like a foreshadowing to the last panel.
And he's menacing in that illustration.
Or just overpowering. Like the camera angle's like the up angle, and it's like I said, and the very last thing he says.
Oh, you have new gods now. What a powerful message.
Yeah.
I don't know what better way to end but with that. One of my favorite parts of this is the New Mutant language, right?
Yeah, which we didn't so much talk about that, but every time a New Mutant enters Krakoa that basically teaches them the language.
Instantly.
Yeah. Immediately.
And they actually use this language for, like, to label their gateways, and just they want to have their own nation, and a new nation always has its own language.
Exactly. So that's also for the preview for the next comics.
Yes,
so
for you to decode.
Yeah, we have two for the code breakers out there. There's two panels with two separate messages. So it was pretty fun decoding them. They have, like, when they talked about the pills, the flower pills, it does have like little codes. It says what each letter is for the pills. So like the I, L, G.
Now, I mean, if we go back, the G and the H I want to say is a typo.
Yes.
Like, they need to switch him back around. They do,
because they give you enough letters to pretty much figure out the last two.
Yeah.
The only one I had to look up at the end, because I got really stuck, was something I wouldn't have figured out. So I guess Hickman's translations work off of kind of like a Tolkien system. So the T flipped upside down is pronounced TH. So, like I said, I wouldn't have got that because I have never tried to decode an Elven language before in Tolkien. So, but it's really interesting. So the first message is, it's not a dream if it's real.
And the top part says next.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. The next page, the top part says then, the curious case of Moira X.
Because we have gotten some previews, really strange previews, of like Moira on the cover kissing with Apocalypse. Yes. So, and there's actually quite a few covers of them like together.
Yes.
Like him standing like right behind her. And one of the preview comics has a panel of Professor X, and it says like, this is the most important scene or panel in Marvel history or X-Men history. Yeah. And it's him and Moira, and Professor X is scanning her brain and seeing something crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
Exciting stuff.
I know. I can't wait to read Powers of 10, number 2, which we will be going over next week.
Mm-hmm. If we have time. Yeah, pretty busy.
So anyway.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We're going to try to do this for now once a week because we both work. So life happens. We're pretty old. So, but yeah, just trying to have some fun.
Hope you enjoy.
All right. See you next time.
Yeah, but dude, if there was no more Alzheimer's, if we go back to the Notebook, he'll end up with her forever.
Yeah, but
that part out.
Yeah, but some of this stuff, some of the mental diseases, are caused from stress on the body from being sick when you're younger. So if you had the second one, you probably wouldn't develop that one as much.
Okay.
So I think that one's the best, and also you would live longer because you're. Second one's the best. Drug eye is the best.
All 3.
No, you can only pick one.